The long shot specialist. Picture this, it's the early 2000s and Paul Scholes receives the ball 30 yards from goal. The crowd holds its breath. Defenders frantically close him down, but it's too late. That bazooka of a right foot unleashes pure thunder. The ball rockets past a helpless goalkeeper into the top corner. Old Trafford erupts like a volcano. This was the era when footballers possessed nuclear weapons in their boots. Roberto Carlos, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, John Arne Riise, Juninho Pernambucano. These artillery specialists turned distance into opportunity. Every touch outside the box carried danger. Defenders lived in constant fear that one moment of space could decide the game. Juninho alone scored 77 free kicks during his career, bending physics with every strike. Gerrard's rocket against West Ham in the 2006 FA Cup final from exactly 30 yards didn't just win a trophy, it defined an entire generation's understanding of what was possible from distance. Cristiano Ronaldo represented the last breath of this golden era, so devastatingly effective from range that no manager or coach ever dared to try and stop him in his prime. His knuckleball technique could bend reality itself, making goalkeepers look helpless from impossible angles. But then analytics arrived like a funeral director, measuring every shot's expected goals value. The numbers tell a devastating story. Long-range attempts dropped from 13.3 shots per game in 2003 to 4 to just 9.1 in 2023-24. Goals from distance collapsed from 20.2% of all scores in 2006 to 2007 to a mere 11.5% today. Modern coaches preach possession retention over spectacular gambles. Meanwhile, goalkeeper training revolutionized. Today's keepers are supreme athletes with enhanced positioning, reflexes, and shot-stopping techniques that maybe would humble even their 2000s predecessors. Players like Rodri and Declan Rice, both capable of distance shooting, are programmed to recycle possession instead of launching meteorites from the halfway line. Even Marco Asensio's spectacular 2017 to 2018 long-range goal streak feels like a relic from another era. Federico Valverde, with his 5 long-range goals in the 2024-25 season, makes him football's last gunslinger, in a world that traded magic for mathematics. And somehow, we all pretended it was progress. The stepover merchant. A young Cristiano Ronaldo approaches the penalty area, ball glued to his feet like magnetism. Step over, feint, shimmy, another step over, then another, and another. The defender spins like a washing machine on maximum cycle. Finally, when the poor soul is thoroughly hypnotized by the 6th elaborate feint, Ronaldo explodes past him with devastating pace. This was the era of excessive stepover merchants, football's master illusionists who turned defenders into confused spectators at their own humiliation. Robinho performed his signature pedaladas in almost every single game, chaining together multiple feints in mesmerizing sequences. Brazilian Denilson transformed elaborate stepovers into pure poetry, making grown men question what planet they were on. Every chain of feints promised impending embarrassment. Crowds roared for the technique itself, not just the end result. The journey mattered as much as the destination. The British press criticised young Ronaldo for his elaborate stepovers, but fans were mesmerised by the theatre. But modern football's relentless efficiency murdered this elaborate circus. Gegenpressing systems punish indecision, demanding immediate ball recovery after possession loss. Coaches embraced refinement culture, optimization and efficiency over individual expression. The new mantra became clear: beat your man once, not 6 times. Even Ronaldo himself evolved, transforming from someone who made one step over too many into a player more concerned with directness and efficiency than tricks and skills. The beautiful dance of deception became redundant when results mattered more than entertainment. Simple stepovers survived, they remain effective and widely taught. But the full circus performance? The 6 feint symphony that left defenders dizzy and crowds breathless? That's museum piece football. We gained tactical sophistication, but lost the breathtaking spectacle of a winger performing Shakespeare while the defender played the bewildered victim. The Hollywood passer. Andrea Pirlo sits deep in his own half, scanning the battlefield with the calm of a chess grandmaster. Suddenly, his right foot caresses the ball with surgical precision, sending a 60-yard diagonal that splits the entire opposition. The ball lands softly on his teammate's chest, like a love letter delivered by rocket mail. The Hollywood passer was football's long-range poet, turning ambitious vision into breathtaking reality. Paul Scholes could ping a ball from Manchester to the moon and back. Xabi Alonso's switches of play didn't just move the ball, they shifted entire defensive structures, exposing weaknesses with single, devastating passes. Still to this day, he shows players in training how it's done. These weren't just functional balls, they were statements of dominance. One swing of the boot could flip momentum, territory, and psychology. When Scholes hit a diagonal from deep, Old Trafford gasped in collective appreciation. He rarely missed, accuracy approaching mathematical perfection. But modern football's evolution changed everything. High-pressing systems now suffocate opponents in their own half, making these ambitious passes far riskier propositions. Defensive structures became more compact and coordinated. Analytics proved that short, controlled sequences maintain possession better than spectacular risks. Coaches now preach calculated safety over audacious ambition. Bruno Fernandes attempts these passes with decent overall accuracy, but his long ball success rate sits at just 56%, ambitious but lacking Scholes' supernatural precision. Even Paul Pogba, great with both feet and exceptional on his day, couldn't consistently replicate the old master's magic. Trent Alexander-Arnold excels at both crossing and deep diagonal switches, but from another role. Modern midfielders became tactical calculators, programmed for triangles and safe passes rather than inspiration and belief. The defensive evolution explains why Hollywood passing died. When teams press aggressively and defenders coordinate their lines perfectly, those spectacular 60-yard diagonals become dangerous turnovers waiting to happen. We gain tactical discipline and possession security, but sacrifice the art of splitting games open with a single, perfect ball. The touchline crossing specialist. David Beckham receives the ball on the right wing, 40 yards from goal. He doesn't cut inside like modern wingers. Instead, he hugs the touchline like it's his oldest friend. With that golden right foot, he whips in a cross so perfect it seems guided by divine intervention. The ball curls away from the goalkeeper, finds the striker's head, and nestles in the far corner. This was football's golden age of service, when wide players existed to create rather than score. Beckham's delivery was surgical. He could place a ball on a sixpence from 50 yards. His 80 Premier League assists between 1995 and 2003 remain unmatched from that era. Crossing wasn't just tactical, it was identity. Teams planned entire attacking philosophies around aerial bombardment. Fans expected it, strikers demanded it, and managers built systems to maximize these moments. Modern data on modern football exposed the crossing's brutal reality. Cross-goal conversion rates sits at just under 2%, meaning 1 goal from every 50 attempts. Even successful crosses that reach a teammate only convert about once every 40 tries into the danger zone. The analytics revolution branded crossing as giving possession away too easily. The rise of inverted wingers changed everything. Why serve others when you can score yourself? Starting with Arjen Robben, Cristiano Ronaldo and young Messi, teams stopped crossing and swapped traditional wingers for goal-hunting wide forwards. Modern wide players like Mohamed Salah and Kylian Mbappe drift inside, hunting goals rather than assists. Modern fullback Trent Alexander-Arnold at Liverpool and Real Madrid has become the closest we have to Beckham's delivery magic, but he operates from deeper positions, lacking the pure wide-wing crossing specialist role. More and more we start to see wingers who couldn't cross the ball to the striker, even if their life depended on it. Beckham himself slowly adapted to the times, transitioning from wide crosser to deep-lying playmaker at Milan and PSG, orchestrating closer to central midfield, showcasing the diagonal Hollywood pass rather than delivering crosses against established defense. Football gained goals, but lost the beauty of Beckham curling it perfectly onto a teammate's forehead.
The soloist dribbler.
Ronaldinho collects the ball in his own half, 30 yards from the nearest teammate. What happens next defies logic. He begins dancing through challenges like auditioning for the lead role in Swan Lake, except the stage is grass and the audience wants to tackle him. 5 defenders converge, yet somehow he emerges unscathed, the ball still attached to his feet by invisible strings. The soloist dribbler represented football's ultimate act of individual rebellion. One man against an army, armed only with technique and audacity. Hatem Ben Arfa on his day could embark on 60-yard odysseys, swiveling past 4 stunned defenders and slotting home wonder goals. Even Maradona's immortality rests on that famous solo run against England, slaloming through 5 players like they were ghosts to score the goal of the century. These magical moments weren't just goals, they were statements. They said football could still be about individual genius defeating collective organization. The crowd held its breath for these impossible journeys through human forests. But modern pressing systems suffocated this artistry with calculated violence. Gegenpressing tactics immediately disrupt any elaborate build-up, turning possession loss into instant counterattacks. Lose possession through risky dribbling, and your entire team pays the price. Coaches can't afford luxury when mistakes trigger immediate scoring opportunities for opponents. Today's dribblers like Jack Grealish operate within systems, using quick bursts rather than epic solo adventures. Even Mohamed Salah, capable of brilliant solo runs like his memorable goal dribbling through Manchester City's defence, adapts his approach to modern tactical demands. Messi's legendary dribbling became more pragmatic as football evolved into a collective pressing machine. Defenders improved dramatically. They're faster, smarter, more disciplined. The margin for error and the choice to act on good vibes and confidence disappeared. Modern football killed the romantic soloist, replacing poetry with systematic efficiency. The let them know you're there tackle. Football's most dangerous players weren't always the goal scorers. Some specialized in a darker art, psychological warfare through bone-crushing tackles that echoed across stadiums like gunshots. This was enforcement, and it existed at every level of the pitch. The statement tackle was football's ultimate mind game, combining intimidation with surgical precision. In midfield, Roy Keane could spot his target from 50 yards away. When contact arrived, it sounded like thunder cracking, sending a message to everyone watching. You're not safe here. This is my territory. In defense, the hunters were even more ruthless. Sergio Ramos perfected the art of calculated brutality across his career. 30 red cards and a record-breaking 191 disciplinary cards in La Liga alone. His arm-lock takedown of Mohamed Salah in the 2018 Champions League final, forcing the Egyptian off with a dislocated shoulder, showed how intimidation could neutralize pure skill. Gennaro Gattuso turned midfield battles into medieval warfare, winning more challenges than any other player at the 2006 World Cup. Patrick Vieira transformed Arsenal's engine room into a gladiatorial arena, accumulating 76 yellows and 8 reds across his Premier League career. These bone-rattling challenges weren't just defensive actions, they were psychological weapons. One early cruncher could plant doubt in an opponent's mind for 90 minutes. Flair players would hesitate, check over their shoulders, pull out of 50-50 challenges. Modern football still has echoes of this DNA. Lisandro Martinez and Antonio Rudiger understand that the game remains partly mental warfare. But strict refereeing and VAR scrutiny murdered the true art of intimidation. Pepe, Vidic, Neville, John Terry, and cult hero Khalid Boulahrouz, known as the Cannibal, were all predators who treated skilled opponents as prey to be hunted. That predatory edge, where superior technique could be neutralized through calculated violence, vanished from football's ecosystem. Player safety is undeniably a blessing, but we lost football's untamed, dangerous beauty in the process. The free kick specialist. Juninho Pernambucano stands over the ball 28 yards from goal. The wall forms, but they're just unnecessary props in his theatre. With one swing of his magical right foot, he bends physics itself. The ball curves impossibly around human barriers and rockets into the top corner. Free kick specialists once felt like cheat codes in human form. When your team won a dead ball within shooting distance, fans rose to their feet in anticipation. Beckham's whipped deliveries, Pirlo's effortless elegance, Roberto Carlos defying gravity. These weren't just goals, they were miracles disguised as football. Juninho scored 77 free kicks during his career, each one a masterclass in applied physics. Beckham claimed 18 Premier League free kick goals, becoming the competition's undisputed dead ball king. But modern football systematically destroyed this art form. Between 2000 to 2010, the Premier League averaged 32 free kick goals per season. Since 2020, that number plummeted to 15. Goalkeepers became athletic freaks, walls learned to jump in unison, and VAR micromanaged every contact. James Ward-Prowse represents the dying breed, sitting just one goal away from equaling Beckham's record with 17 Premier League free kick goals. Yet he hasn't scored since February 2023. The extinction is so complete that when Declan Rice, a player who'd missed 12 straight free kick attempts across his 339-game career, suddenly scored 2 perfect free kicks against Real Madrid in 12 minutes, it broke the internet. Rice became the first player in Champions League history to score 2 direct free kicks in a knockout match. The fact that this shocked the world like it did tells the story about how dead this skill truly is.
The luxury jogger.
Dimitar Berbatov glides across the pitch like football is beneath his dignity. While teammates sprint themselves into exhaustion, he conserves energy with aristocratic elegance. When the perfect moment arrives, that sublime first touch and clinical finish remind everyone why genius deserves different rules. The luxury jogger was football's most beautiful contradiction, devastating effectiveness wrapped in apparent laziness. Juan Román Riquelme could orchestrate symphonies while barely breaking sweat. They didn't press, didn't track back, didn't conform to modern athletic demands. They simply waited for their moment to paint masterpieces. Berbatov once declared, "You won't see me puffing around the pitch. Great quality doesn't require much effort." This wasn't arrogance, it was tactical philosophy. Why waste energy on defensive tourism when your gifts lay in creative destruction? Even Lionel Messi perfected this approach, strolling around Barcelona's attacking third while scanning and analyzing. He was so transcendent that coaches built entire systems around accommodating his selective work rate. PSG's experiment with defensive freeloaders in Messi, Neymar and Mbappe proved luxury players can't coexist in modern football. Beautifully illustrated by Luis Enrique and his loyal crew, finally winning the Champions League after all of the 3 defensively lazy musketeers left. 3 passengers, no matter how talented, become tactical liabilities in the modern game. Today, even creative geniuses like Kevin De Bruyne and Bruno Fernandes run themselves ragged. Football became athletically democratic. Everyone works or everyone suffers. Football surely gained collective efficiency and brotherhood, but lost the mysterious and provoking genius who could win matches while treating football like a casual stroll through the park.
The target man's knockdown header. Peter Crouch rises above 2 defenders like a skyscraper among houses. The long ball arrives perfectly. Crouch's forehead redirects it with surgical precision into his teammate's path. It's not beautiful, but it's devastatingly effective. Football is reduced to its most primal elements: height versus strength, timing versus determination. The knockdown header was football's most honest tactic. Launch the ball toward your giant, let physics and persistence decide the outcome. Jan Koller turned aerial duels into personal vendettas. Didier Drogba combined this brutality with silky technique, making him impossible to defend. Teams built entire philosophies around these moments. The long ball wasn't desperate, it was calculated chaos. Defenders knew exactly what was coming but couldn't prevent it. When executed properly, the knockdown created goal-scoring opportunities from hopeful launches. Andy Carroll epitomized this dying art. Liverpool paid $35 million for his aerial dominance at Newcastle, believing headers could replace technique. Slaven Bilic called him the best in the world at heading a football, but injuries destroyed his career trajectory. Modern football exposed the target man's limitations. One-dimensional giants became tactical liabilities. Marouane Fellaini became modern football's last Plan B player. His impossible chest control, David Moyes called him the best in the world at it, turned desperate long balls into controlled attacks. But even Fellaini was criticised as a crude tactical crutch. The big red panic button managers pressed when creativity failed. Contemporary strikers must press, link play and finish, not just dominate aerial duels. The flick-on header became tactically extinct because football demanded more sophisticated approaches to chance creation. We gained possession-based sophistication, but lost football's most honest battleground, where giants fought in the clouds while mortals scrambled for the scraps below. That was the story of football's lost warriors, the iconic traits that made the beautiful game truly beautiful before tactical evolution buried them in efficiency's graveyard. Which extinct trait do you miss most? Let me know in the comments, and if you want more deep dives into football's evolution, make sure to subscribe.